10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. I'm Doug. Joining me today is Dr. Bill.
Hello.
And we're going to be discussing a few things. The wave of 1947, maybe some alien octopus. Chris Lato, our favorite, one of our favorites. How you doing today, Bill?
Good. How you doing?
It's been awesome. It's freezing my butt off now. It was 72 in the Sacramento area for a week, and now it's decides to be in the 50s, and I'm cold.
Oh,
I'm going to move to Florida.
It's going to be 85 today here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice. It's actually really nice. Chris Lato and then Octopus. I'm making notes. Okay.
I would like to start with current events.
Yeah.
We'll do the war corner first before we go on a rant. What are you? And I do want to state though that I did call it. I said it would start on Monday.
You did. You nailed it. You absolutely.
I did. I almost sent you a text. I went, I'll wait till the show to mention it. I did call it. Everybody listen to last week's episode. I said it'll start Monday and right after the Olympics, and I called Putin, gave him the green light, and he went in. So,
it made a lot of sense. That call was dead on. It made a lot of sense. That was absolutely
or dumb luck, one or the other. So
it actually made a lot of sense if you think about it, because there's a lot of politics around the Olympics, and China and Russia, just didn't want anything exciting to happen until it was over. It was a good call.
So So now I've watched more CNN. CNN ratings must go way up when we have a conflict like this, because I watch more. If I want to get my war fix, what's going on with the war today? I always go to CNN.
Yeah, I looked at some news and then I stopped. I just I don't.
Well, there's nothing. They're going to be. I'll make another prediction that they'll be in the Capitol by tomorrow. And are they going to assassinate this guy? What are they going to do when they get him?
No, they're not. You mean Zelensky or
the comedian president?
Yeah, they're not. That's not going to happen. It might happen by accident, but I don't think it's going to happen it's not going to be on purpose.
It might happen by accident. What, lead poisoning?
Yeah. It'll be some sort of it'll be like the death of who was that? Daedalus, the famous Greek scientist Daedalus. I think it was Daedalus, where they finally, the enemies of whoever state he was living in came in, and he was drawing geometric shapes in the sand, and a soldier came up to him and told him to get up and move on or something, and he told the soldier to shut up, I'm busy, so the guy just killed him. So, yeah, it's...
that's the way the world worked back then.
Yes, and it can work. It worked that way now. So,
population control really worked out.
Yeah, and the population keeps growing.
Yeah, because we don't do that anymore.
No, we're civilized now. What a mess. What a mess. It's like, I don't think this would have happened if Trump was president.
No, I don't think so either. And I don't want to get too much into that. And my dear wife is...
Are you
so anti? Oh, she is so anti. Well, you were here for that.
She
is so anti-Trump. She doesn't want to hear anything about it. I keep telling her 24. Trump.
I agree.
She's like, no. I go, yeah, he's
It's
because of everything that's going on, it's just pushing all the popularity back.
it's going to be it's going to be him.
And he's got his own Twitter. He's got his own style Twitter account now, or something.
Or company. I forget. True.
It's a company. Something
Trust.
he developed. Well,
Trust.
I'm going to have my own Twitter.
That's what happens.
I love that guy.
It's going to be him or DeSantis, the governor of Florida.
Really?
Yeah. If it's not Trump, it'll be DeSantis. I mean, that's pretty much given. And gas is going to hit $5 a gallon for you guys pretty soon, within the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, luckily I don't drive very much anymore.
And then this summer it'll hit $6 a gallon for you guys. It'll be $5 for us out here, and that's $100 to fill your tank.
You still got the economical vehicles?
Yeah, still do. I just filled it up, and I was like, it was $27 to fill it up, and it doesn't have a big tank on it. And I went back because I keep purchase records, of course. So I went through and looked at it, and the price increases haven't been that big from last year, but a couple of years ago, I was filling it up for $10 less.
Yeah.
It's not for we don't drive that much anymore either, so it's not that big a deal. And then I did the calculation for driving out to California with my car just to see. So it was $210 to drive my car to California. You can do that calculation on the AAA website. You put your car in.
What's the cost to fly?
Oh,
you said you got a really reasonable. I don't know if that's anymore. With the fuel prices going up, you may not get that good a deal anymore.
It might be okay. I could check. I'm not going to do it right now because I have to mess with my screens.
Yeah, because we're doing this
video.
But anyway, so the ghost of on this continuing on the War Corner, I sent you that, and I'm sorry you weren't able to probably open that up because
I saw
challenged.
I saw another. I saw the link. I didn't.
Look it up.
I didn't open it, but I saw another article about it. That's the pilot.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
The pilot, the ghost of, how do you pronounce that? The capital,
Kiev.
Kiev.
Who cares?
Kiev. It's all consonants.
Kiev. K-I-E-V is the old spelling. Kiev.
Yeah. So allegedly he's got a MiG-29. I was wondering what kind of aircraft they had. The Ukrainians had. I'm like, did they have advanced aircraft? And they have Russian MiG-29s, and that's interesting that Russia. I mean, I found it interesting that they were able to have Russian MiG-29. How'd they get those if Russia doesn't like them?
They bought them from Russia, or they had them from before. How old is the MiG-29?
I don't know. I didn't really. It's fairly advanced. I think it's like the MiG-29 is about the era of our F-14 Tomcat, which is. If you've seen Top Gun,
they're still in.
That's how old they are. They weren't new with Top Gun either.
They're still in service. They're still running them.
Oh yeah.
So it's.
Well, we're losing less of those than we are the Raptors. Less of them are falling in the ocean.
Oh, I looked at that video again, and I think you can see because the F-35 has tiny little landing gears that come down.
Yeah,
you can see the landing gear come down on the. Hang on.
So, what are we thinking? Pilot Air, or?
It was.
They didn't mention that part, but 5 sailors got in trouble for videoing it and releasing it. So, and it also with the Chris Lato thing, I found that interesting because the pilots.
What was that plane again? I brought up a website.
MiG-29.
MiG-29. Oh, it comes right up. Of course, it comes right up. What
era was that?
Introduced August 1983.
Yeah, that's about the Tomcat era.
Twin engine aircraft, Soviet Union. Okay. Yeah, I don't. So, yep. You were saying?
Yeah, I mean it's advanced. It's advanced enough. I mean, but still, okay. So the Russians allowed them to buy, even though they don't. The Russians are arrogant. They just think they're going to, and they are rolling through. Seems to be rolling through the Ukraine fairly quickly. Again, by tomorrow they'll be in the capital.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I don't know. There's a lot of propaganda. There was a picture in the paper of these troops lying on a roadbed freeway, like a freeway in Kiev, and they're lying prone on the roadbed. And then they showed another picture, and their vehicles were in front of them. I said, why are they lying, pointing at their vehicles? I mean, it was just a photo op. They said, get out of the, yeah. Then there was something else. There was a story of a Marine blowing up a bridge, and he blew himself up to stop the Russian advance. I don't find that believable. I have a feeling that the guy accidentally blew himself up.
That's more likely.
Yeah.
Oh, the red wire. Damn it.
Yeah.
They did blow up a bridge to stop to slow down, not stop, slow down the Soviet advancement.
An engineering group I was looking at the pictures of that river, an engineering group would span that thing in 2 hours with a bridge that you could drive tanks across. I don't know, whoever gave the orders for that, or that kid was going out on his own. It's just nutty.
Anyway, the ghost of Kiev. It's a MiG-29 Ukrainian pilot that shot allegedly, and this is rather fantastic. So, but it was an interesting story where he went up, he shot down 3 Russian jets, and then the came back refueled, and then went up and shot a couple more. And it's just a, I don't want to say wives' tale. What do we call it? Urban legend.
Oh, that I don't know.
Urban legend. It might be an urban legend. Dogfighting. The chances of him going 6-1.
No,
I don't. I'm not. Confidence is not high. Although I love this story. It's an awesome story. I mean, it'd be nice if it was true, but I don't think it is.
It's part of the. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda coming out of this thing. If Kiev falls today or tomorrow, then 90 to 99% of what we see is just propaganda. There was this picture of a bombed-out building, and then this lady in a mink coat in front of it. There's a couple pictures of her, and it's like, I didn't read anything about it, but I just had this image of like, and the only thing I could grab before I got out of the apartment was my mink coat. They didn't show the pictures of the animal rights people throwing Soviet blood on her after the photo shoot.
Well, it's just kind of weird. They had this person with blood all over him. In the background, there's a Domino's pizza, and that image was like kind of brought it home.
There was a Domino's pizza. Oh, restaurant.
Domino's. Yeah, Domino's. Yeah. Do you guys have Domino's back there?
Yeah, we do.
It's terrible. The pizza's not real. Well, I think it's gotten better. It used to be terrible.
It used to be.
It was here when you were here.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, and I remember it might have been with you. We ordered pizza, or I ordered pizza, and it was absolute garbage.
Yeah,
it's. I used to get it. I used to get it regularly here. Like on Monday nights, we used to get it here regularly because it's cheap and it was decent. Domino's has gotten better. Yeah, we ate it all the time, and then I got sick of college town pizza, and I have to make my own now.
It's you.
Yeah,
all homemade.
I can't.
I will never make my own pizza.
Oh, it's easy. It's
they
shocking.
offered to put when they built our outdoor kitchen, they offered to put a pizza oven in there. Debbie's like, "Got to draw the line, pizza."
You don't need a pizza oven. It's shockingly easy to make good pizza, and I used to do it. I did it every Saturday for a while, or every Monday for a while, and then I did it last week, just because I was like ready for pizza again. But I used to do it every Monday when I got tired of college town pizza. It's not bad. You got a bread machine. Nobody cares about this. I got a bread machine. You throw it in the bread machine to prep your dough, and then your sauce is you make sauce. Making this decent sauce takes no time at all, because you take it out of the can, and then it's just grate the cheese and stuff and do it in the oven. It's easy. Although it takes 2 hours.
Do we need to do a food segment?
Food segment. That was our food segment. Yeah, takes 2 hours.
The food corner.
The food corner. So you called the war in the Ukraine. Nailed it.
I called it. Okay, so Chris Lato, and let's move to Chris.
Yep, Chris Lato.
The triangles coming out of the ocean and flying. I like him. I like his show, but he constantly refers to the vehicles as being piloted by extraterrestrials. I mean, it's the fact that it might not be piloted by extraterrestrials. It's an exciting thought, and because of the amount of sightings we keep having.
Well, he just came. He's just decided to sort of like it's his come to Jesus moment. He's decided that he's going to accept the possibility that this is extraterrestrials.
Well, he's a little late to the party, but it's okay. We don't know. We can't catch them. I guess they crash and we put them in a warehouse somewhere in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and that's another prediction I'll have. This when this thing breaks open, probably after we're dead, that that they're going to undo that. They're going to.
They've been
the warehouse.
People have been predicting it's going to break open for decades. I've just was. I'm reading.
Going to do it.
I'm reading "Watch the Skies" by Curtis Peebles, which is a debunking book, but it's actually really good for like a history breakdown.
Yeah,
a timeline history breakdown, and then he throws in stuff like the criticisms by the guy Glass. My ability with names is always bad. Klaus. Philip J. Klass. Yeah. He throws in his debunking stuff, which I've decided I need to sit down and I need to read all these debunking books. I need to get that information, the debunking stuff in here. Not to debunk, but just to understand debunking. So, he talked about, I just read in the book, he talked about the Socorro incident with Zamora, the police officer, 1964, he saw a ship land with two people and little shorter kids or little people in coveralls land, and that was heavily investigated, and it is one of the cases that has stayed as unidentified in Project Blue Book files. It's a really good case. Dr. Hynek actually went out 2 or 3 times to interview people and investigate this because it was such a compelling case. And supposedly this case is one of the cases that caused Hynek to sort of embrace the mystery of UFOs as something more than just people imagining things. But Klass went in there, and in his debunking of that, he says it's a conspiracy between the police force and the mayor to bring in UFO tourists.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly.
Yeah.
But it's a great case. But Chris Lato, yeah. I mean, you have to. I've struggled with this. Last year, I was having a really hard time with this stuff and reading these books. And the thing that's helped is medication. I mean, meditation. I'm sorry, not medication. Medication.
Taking some of that oxy.
Meditation. What helped was the report that came out of Congress last year. The fact that the Project Galileo, some people that are respectable and are jumping in to do what they should have done and tried to do in the 50s with the cameras and stuff to get good documented evidence of whatever this phenomena is.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's that new podcast that he was on, which was the people from Michigan. There are a couple school teachers. I put them on my podcast list, and apparently they saw some sort of triangle in front of them several years ago, which got them involved in this.
Yeah, I think that was a TR3B. Honestly, that's one of ours.
Oh,
that experimental. But that's what I believe. When you see a triangle with the 3 glowing
3 lights
underneath it, I think that's our experimental TR3B, which we're not ready. Like we talked about last week, I think, with the engineer guy that was over at the house when he actually witnessed that they pushed out the F-117 and brought in what I think was the TR-3B.
Okay.
And, it's, I mean, I'm hoping that that's something that, but I don't know if you can, it's always moving very slowly. There was another case that I read where you've probably heard this because I've known it for years, is that some people were camping in the desert and they were just, laying there watching the stars and maybe drinking and drugging. I don't know. But anyway, a slow moving triangular ship just kind of basically floated, didn't hardly make any noise, humming. I think this was more humming. And it just kind of floated overhead, and then blocked out the stars. The only way, it was pitch black, but you could see stars in the desert a lot better because there's no lights. And it just kind of floated over the top of them. So I also think that was another incident of not really extraterrestrial. I think it's that's one of ours, I think.
That reminds me of that. That's one of the cases that's in Ruppelt's book where the scientist from Los Alamos and his wife were sitting in their porch one evening and a triangular shaped craft went over. So, I mean, that
raised... Yeah, no, they also, we didn't have, I don't think we had it back then, but we may have designed something. And maybe that was extraterrestrial, but I think
that could have been
copied it.
That could have been an early prototype.
Yeah. Yeah, but the propulsion system is pretty advanced, it sounds like. I mean, I didn't read the technological details of it, but it sounds like it could be something, I don't know.
The TR-3B.
Yeah, I mean, it's advanced, allegedly, because that's one they haven't let out yet. It's to the public. So the cubes, Leto talks about the cubes coming out of the water, and there's a lot of activity, it seems, in the Pacific, and pretty heavily populated.
Pacific and Atlantic. And then
I always hear about the Pacific. Is there a specific spot in the Atlantic? Because we've got the Bermuda Triangle too. So
it's not the Bermuda Triangle. It's off of Jacksonville and I think south in North Carolina. There's the equivalent East Coast range that you're seeing on the Pacific Coast. On the East Coast, that's that range, and then that range, the pilots have been seeing strange phenomena for years. I don't remember if it was the J.J. Abrams UFO thing or the 60 Minutes article where they had a couple pilots come out and talk about things that they had seen. Those pilots were East Coast sightings.
Yeah,
where they were saying they've been seeing these things for a long time. But so both coasts,
it's whatever.
Both coasts.
And I haven't really looked because I'm out here on the West Coast, the left coast, and most of them were down by San Diego and Catalina, between San Diego and Catalina Island, or L.A. and Catalina, I should say, and that's where we think the things are coming from. But and those undersea things, that's a whole different thing there.
Undersea.
It's, like I think we touched on this before, where it's more likely that, they're coming from either underneath the earth or more likely, I think, underneath the ocean. And, it's, with that, I mean, you remember we talked about the Panspermia, the study of, how life got here. It was just spread out over the cosmic dust and spread over the world eons ago. And that's how the octopuses, one of the things that got started was the octopus. I've always thought that octopuses are extraterrestrial. I think,
Well, that's that old That's that article in the Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology.
Yeah.
Published in, where's the date? 2018.
But
Says
go ahead.
which is the title is Cause of the Cambrian Explosion, Terrestrial or Cosmic. So they were, oh yeah. I haven't looked at this. Yeah, there's an article, there's a popular science article in here.
Well, if you look up it's interesting because I decided to look up octopuses and are they aliens? It says they are aliens which evolved on another planet before arriving on Earth hundreds of millions of years ago as cryopreserved eggs via a process known as Panspermia. A radical new research has suggested the extraordinary claims are made in a report entitled Cause of, as you mentioned, the Cambrian Explosion. Are they terrestrial or cosmic? And, did you ever watch that movie Octopus? This guy in South Africa had this octopus. He befriended, the octopus.
My octopus lover.
Did you? What? Yeah. Did you? It wasn't that, but it was close. Did you see it?
Oh, I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
No way! It's awesome. It's like a Disney movie. It's awesome. You got to watch it.
Oh God. Oh.
It's good because it's not, well, it could be CGI, I guess, but yeah. What is it called? My Octopus. What is it?
My Octopus Lover is what it's called. It's My Octopus Teacher or something like that.
Yeah.
My Octopus Lover.
But, they have 3 hearts and their blood's blue. And, it looks strange. It's got bugged out eyes and suction cup tentacles. Something an alien we would think. So, I mean, maybe these things are just aliens that, they're like the pets.
The pets.
The octopus pets that are coming out of the real octopus. They're flying. Yeah. And maybe on the inside of the spacecraft or the space UFOs are actually water inside because they have to be in water all the time. So, and they're flying around. Make a good science fiction movie.
Make a heavy spaceship.
They don't really, go ahead.
Speaking of heavy spaceships, the Appendix D, which I talked about, the guy, so the way to the spaceship, I don't know if that would be even relevant. It wouldn't matter. So if you had an aquatic species that was going to travel between the stars, the Appendix B, the guy from J.E. Lipp, Dr. Lipp from the Rand Corporation, apparently the Land Corporation had done an analysis of atomic engines, like atomic rocket engines. And they had did calculations. I don't know how much they've stood up over time, but they did calculations that you could get to Wolf 359. That's where the Borg battle was. They
wasn't there an Outer Limits episode where they had
Wolf 359?
Yeah, there was a wolf. There was an Outer Limits. It's a wolf something, and they actually had a environment in a lab that was from this planet. Is Wolf 359 a planet, or is it a?
It's a solar. It's a system. It's a star system.
It's a system. Yeah. So what was up with it?
Oh, he said that a atomic rocket could get there in 16 years. This is a calculation that he did in this is a calculation that was done in 1947. And that's just think about it. It's not not that bad. It's not that bad. I mean, you could build a ship if you could build the systems to be sustainable for 32 years, say 35 years. We could have launched a atomic ship, which would probably be the equivalent of an aircraft carrier in size and stuff. And it could have gone to the nearest solar system and back in our lifetime. So if it left if it left in, if we continue to pursue atomic energy, which has been bad, but now I guess it's still bad, but apparently it could save the planet from the carbon meltdown. Let's see. If they'd left in 1980, they could have gotten to Wolf 359 in 1997, 96, 97, and then spent 3 years, couple years there, and be back already. We could have sent an expedition to the nearest star system and return. I'm looking at in our lifetimes, and apparently it was theoretically possible, although that may have changed. I'm looking at my invertebrate book on mollusk.
Are they are they alien too?
Are
mollusks from space?
I don't know.
Very nice.
Yeah. So you can see some alien stuff. So the idea in this book that I haven't read, or the article I haven't read, is that I think they're saying that like DNA fragments rained down on the planet, introducing a large variation into the population of the existing creatures, and that caused the Cambrian explosion, which was a big deal. Here, I got to get a book on the Cambrian explosion. See, if I don't do my homework, this is what happens.
Yeah.
But then I didn't feel like doing
your grade is going to suffer.
My grade is going to suffer. So,
the DNA of the octopus may not be from this world, scientists reveal. The new study concluded that octopuses actually have an alien DNA, according to the study published by the journal Nature Octopuses. I don't know what that means.
You just like to say
journal that is.
Nature Octopuses? It's a journal.
It just says, that's what it says in the journal Nature, Octopuses.
Well, I once asked one of my professors about books on the Cambrian explosion, and basically I think he just said this, The Wonderful Life by Stephen Jay Gould, who was wrong about a lot of his stuff. I'm looking for if there's any cool pictures in here. So they're suggesting that the Cambrian explosion came about because of this is a popular one, hallucigenia, which is this thing here. If you look up, you can see it.
Oh, hang on, I got to look up.
Don't you have a picture? But this is supposed to be.
No, I was on something. I was looking at the internet.
This is supposed to be upside down now. So I don't know. I can, without reading anything, I can tell this is a wild. I love this.
Put that back up. What was that octopus with like legs, just like walking on Earth?
This is supposedly upside down. Apparently, the interpretation.
Oh, that's interesting.
The new
that's
interpretation.
What's in those ships.
Yeah,
that's an alien.
That'd
be scary. Would that be scary?
Yeah,
that's scarier, I think, than the Greys. This octopus comes out. They got a spacesuit.
There's a lot of. Here's another one. There's a lot of.
I like that one.
That one's cool. Some of these things are open to interpretation. These creatures.
Well, I like the theory that octopuses are from another planet.
It's a possibility.
Octopi.
Years and years ago, I was when I was a student at Chicago. I had read in one of the science fiction magazines, they had referenced a article that had been published in some astronomy journal about DNA being found in asteroids, I think. And I went into the library because they had University of Chicago had a massive library. I don't know, these days everything's put online, which I think is a mistake, but I went in there looking for the article and I couldn't find it because I didn't know how to search the stacks properly. I didn't know how they organized it. So I was like looking for this article. It was a brand new graduate student said, "Oh, I'm going to look up this article now that I got this great library that has everything in it." Couldn't find it, and it's like, oh, maybe it's bullshit. And so I said, oh, okay, it's probably crap. It's not true. But years and years later, when I was in grad school, I went in there and I was digging for some other journal article, and I ran across the appropriate journals. It's like, oh, yeah, I was in the wrong section, I looked in the wrong place. It's right here. So yeah, there was some article published where people had looked at, I don't know if it was meteorites, I can't remember, or something, and they had found DNA fragments in the meteorites. It might be actually referenced in this article here. And that's a possibility. But the other possibility that they're about the Cambrian explosion isn't just that there was like space DNA that came in to introduce a bunch of new traits for stuff. The possibility is just that viruses had suddenly evolved and started doing rapid gene exchange with a lot of different organisms. So you had all these organisms that had developed, and then these viruses come up like HIV, and they start pulling sequences from organisms and transmitting them to other organisms. So there's multiple possibilities. The fact that the problem is, for decades, you have to go. What they would do in science is that they would say you can't say something is true without evidence, right? So we have no evidence there's life in other solar systems, so there's no life in other solar systems is the base assumption.
Well, yeah, but
that's arrogant. I mean, that's and that's why
to say that we think there is to say that anything's possible. I mean, but that's okay because anything is possible.
Anything is possible. That's the thing that was so remarkable about its Appendix D is that this guy, he's going, we have to assume there is life in other solar systems. That should just be a given. Which is enlightening for me because I've always taken the sort of the basic scientific premise. It's like if you don't have evidence for it, you can't say that it exists. What is it? They did this in the first Gulf War. The Bush administration said the evidence about the weapons of mass destruction, they would go, the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You could apply. That applies.
Yeah.
Applies to aliens.
Yeah. So if you,
life on other planets.
It applies to WMDs. It can apply to aliens and life on other planets. Yeah. And I always thought that was a nonsense sort of statement, but yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that one.
Yeah.
War.
Yeah. We need everybody wins in a war except for the citizens of the countries involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even
they're pawns.
Everyone else wins. The industrialists and the manufacturers and high-ranking military officials. Everybody wins except for the citizens. Oh yeah. No, I'm sad. I'm sad.
So anyway, the guy in Lato's thing, it's the guy is in the back. We talked about people getting in trouble for filming things, but he's in his aircraft and he's taking pictures of this is the acorn. The acorn keeps coming up too. The acorn style of UFO, and that's kind of not new to me, but it's a description that as we've gone through this over the years, I haven't heard too much until lately.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of being super negative about this stuff because that's what the debunkers do. Like
Yeah.
I was just talking about Klaus going with the Zamora and the Socorro incident that happened with a landing of something. And it's a good report. It's a solid report. People thought for years that it was some sort of experimental NASA, landing craft for training of astronauts.
Right.
And then Klaus comes in and says, no, it's a conspiracy with the police in the city to bring in tourist dollars for UFO stuff. It's like, it's and the argument doesn't hold water. And there was something else I was, it's easy to debunk things. It's easy to say it's crap. So, because you're starting with the foundation that it's false to begin with. So any explanation that you come up with is good because it's not true to begin with, and that's doesn't work.
Well, we're not doing this because we don't have a hunch that this is real. I mean, more than a hunch. I mean, I think we're seeing something. I think there's something up there. I'm just a little disappointed that I think the government's got it. I think the governments have some spacecraft, alien spacecraft, and whether or not our friend Bob Lazar actually saw them or not, I think they're somewhere. We've got them.
Bob Lazar.
I love the idea. Yeah, Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
And I like the idea that, a farmer, one of the stories he told was a farmer was, digging in his field and all of a sudden found there was a freaking UFO buried. It had been there for probably eons.
Yeah, I haven't found any follow-up to that, although who knows? I mean, I have a whole library now to get through, which is a process.
It's the same problem that we keep coming up against. Everybody that could give us any information is dead.
Hey, we just started too late. We should have started this.
Yeah, when we were
when we're trying to live. Oh, that's me. Just ignore it.
So we should. Yeah, they listened to a couple of teenagers asking them questions, but we did start this, and my brother and I we actually wanted to. It was so prevalent when we were, growing up that my brother and I were talking, man, I wish we could we wanted to build some radar so we could see. I mean, it must have been, and really the newspaper was the only, we'd see they had articles in the newspaper, the Daily Review or the Tribune down there in the Bay Area that actually had articles about how these things are coming out, and that people are seeing them. But back then, could have been government, possible government, aircraft or something experimental. Hard to say.
But going through some of these sightings from 1947, you would have to say that something is going on, just looking at all these different things. There were some sightings right around in the Seattle area, right around the Maury Island incident. There was one that I was just reading this morning where somebody on Maury Island was June 21, and I think it was July 4th, somebody actually saw a saucer that had a hole in the middle. So it was like the donut, like they were describing with the Maury Island thing.
Right.
And also there were some really good other sightings by people around the time of Kenneth Arnold sightings in June 24th, 1947. The report that we've been reading and we've been looking at, the report on the UFO wave of 1947 by Ted Blucher. Introduced by Dr. James E. McDonald, July 7th in Tacoma, Washington. This is a series of incidents that they call satellite reports, where you have a larger, like, mothership and smaller satellite UFOs flying around it. And 2:30 a.m., a patrol car, this is in Tacoma, Washington, with a couple coppers were sitting in it. Eben Davies and Stan Johnson parked with their headlights and motor turned off. They were caught by a streak in the sky. Looking more closely, Officers Davies, saw a strange spectacle. I didn't say anything. Then I noticed Stan was watching it too. Stan Johnson goes, "Do you see anything?" And Davies goes, "Yeah, do you?" And Johnson goes, "I thought I was crazy. I've been watching it for 5 minutes." He goes, "So have I," said his partner. And then they, what do they say? This was a group of 6 or 7 disc-like objects seen just below a bright moon on the southern sky. One central object, larger than the others, seemed to act like a sort of flagship. The smaller objects would make repeated movements towards the large disc and glide away to the south. They said the larger object appeared to be spinning like a top, throwing off sparks like bursting skyrocket, then attracting the tiny objects back like a mother hen with her chicks.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it has to be a mother. I mean, these aren't the things that are being seen. Aren't. I don't think they're intergalactic. I think they're part of, or they were made here. I mean, we can go on and on about.
Well, I mean,
that's. Come from, but I don't. They don't. They're not. These spaceships we're seeing aren't something that's coming from a Wolf
359.
359. I mean, a mothership probably carried those, or they're made here.
Yeah, but coming back to it, at least to the assessment by the Rand Corporation in 1947, travel to neighboring stars, closest neighboring star, was possible, theoretically possible, within a reasonable period of time. It depends on how you define a reasonable period of time. If it's 32 years round trip, figure 33 to 35 if you stay to explore. I mean, that's doable. You sign up a crew in their 20s. It's a 30-year commitment, which is a lot of people do that with the military anyway. So you have a 30-year commitment. These days, if you want to have kids, I mean, it complicates that. But you could complete your mission and be back to Earth. You'd be in your 50s, and you're retired, famous, and ready to, have kids and do all your other stuff. Or you could have had kids while you were traveling.
How many light years away is Wolf 359, do you know?
I want to say, I can tell you. I have to look it up. It's 359.
That was kind of the reason I'm
8 light years.
Okay. Because I was looking just for last, because Zeta Reticuli is a system that keeps coming up as far, you remember Betty and Barney Hill? Mm-hmm. And she know nothing about, star systems, and she was able to map out the system and of where these aliens had come from that abducted them. But they're 39 light years away. Zeta Reticuli is 39 light years away. So we're talking about not within our lifetime, probably.
Well,
with 1947 technology.
Something that was interesting with the Betty and Barney Hill is the psychiatrist. I just was reading this last night. The psychiatrist that was doing hypnosis and treating them because as a psychiatric condition. He didn't believe Betty Hill was truly abducted because the space aliens had no concept of time.
Yeah.
They didn't know what a year was, or a week, or a month. But then the space alien said, wait a minute, when she was leaving, and wanted the book back that she had given him, or he had given her.
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, it's a dream thing, because a dream, you don't really have a good concept of time. But if you have, I was taking this account a little different, because I was saying that if an alien might not know our time measurements, because our time measurement is based on our calendar. So their calendar is different. So if he's going, what's a year? So the aliens' take on a year is different from our take, or week or month or something like that. So I didn't think that was a valid argument. That's a sort of the classic debunking argument. And the guy saying
don't work. They don't work, so they don't really have to be on time to anything. They don't have to figure out that I'm on time for this. But no, they wouldn't know. They may know, but they don't.
Well, time is a different measure.
Yeah, it's measured differently by them, I'm sure. They don't. It's completely different.
So here it goes. Another reason Dr. Simon believed the abduction was not real experience was the contradictions. The aliens did not understand the idea of old age, lifespan, or year. So what if the aliens were immortal? What if they'd solved that problem? And that's a biological problem. Immortality is a biological problem.
Right. Or they're being manufactured. They're not really, they're androids or whatever. Maybe they're not.
Or if they're an artificial life, an AI. The year argument was their year may be different than our year. So when they're talking about year, and what if they're a spacefaring race that doesn't have a calendar that's based on, the planet moving around the sun? What if their calendar is something based on a different measure of time? So he says, he goes, when Betty was about to leave, the leader said, wait a minute. He goes, such contradictions are common in dreams. Dr. Simon made no secret of his belief that the event was not real. But anyway, so, I mean, this is a debunking book that I'm reading, and that's easy to throw out stuff like that if you argue it from one direction only. And don't, you can always debunk. You can always say something's wrong. You can always tell someone you're wrong. You're wrong. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about let's talk about the details.
I mean, I agree with Leto, though. I mean, something's got to come about. I mean, at what point is it something going to crash, or something that we're able to just go, okay, here it is.
Well, what he was throwing out is, and what you believe, and it's a possibility, and we will get into that in depth at some point. Things may have crashed. And technology may have been adapted. It's that one book by Korsky, where is it? The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip J. Corso. He's saying that stuff. That book, which is a number on the top list of the fraud books of all time through all mankind's history. It's in the top 10 fraud books. Just like,
I think it's a fraud that it's a fraud.
It doesn't make any sense. How did this book even make it on that list? It's like, what are you talking about? Why is this on this list? That's the reason that it got my attention. To go, you got to be kidding me. And it's like a UFO book. Yeah. It's a fraud book. I go, wait. There's other things that are more fraudulent than this guy's thing. And I thought and at the time I read that, it's like the whole, this is before all the stuff was coming out last year. It's just a UFO book, but crazy stuff. Did you want to do an ad, or are you?
Yeah, we're ready.
It's like way past the normal time.
That's fine. You ready?
Yep.
All right. A little shout out to Ryan at Ryan BCS. Their goal is to find the best program and rates available for your business. Their team has years of experience helping clients find lower rates for processing credit cards, They understand that every business is different, so let them spend the time to find out what suits your business best. So visit orionbcs.com and let them begin the process towards saving you money to help you realize your financial goals. Once again, visit orionbcs.com and contact them today. All programs of Orion BCS are subject to terms and conditions. Visit orionbcs.com for more information. Thank you, Orion. And now back to our show.
And we're back. So just we should wrap up. I don't want to keep. We've been beating on the UFO wave of 1947, and
I think we can wrap that up.
And I want to just touch a couple things, and we should move on with that other thing. How can I lose things on my desk? I'm not going. I didn't go anywhere. Oh, here it is, right here. I think we should move on with the Alfred Lading, the Great Flying Saucer Wave of 1947, which I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's the picture.
But we should look at that and see what's going on with this. I think this guy was the original consultant with Project Blue Book under Project Sign before Hynek, but I'm not sure. And there is one case that I want to cover from this. I was looking at. It's about got a bunch of interesting things that we didn't talk about in this. Something was leaving an intermittent trails of blue-white vapor behind it. I've been trying to cover the ones that Dr. McDonald came back and did interviews with. And there was one with this farmer that was looking at stuff. There's airline pilots. Airline pilots saw this was an interesting one. On July 4th, United Airlines flight trip 105 left Goenfield, Boise, bound for Seattle. At 7,000 feet, one of the pilots blinked his landing lights, believing he had seen a plane ahead at about the same level as the airliner. Called Smith's attention to it. That's the Emil J. Smith. I wonder if this is the same guy that was involved in the Maury Island stuff. At first, I thought it was a group of light planes returning from some 4th of July celebration. Then I realized the things were not aircraft, but were flat and circular. And they saw 9 objects for 12 minutes. There's a farmer one that I want. A student pilot saw July 7th and 8th near Spokane, Washington. He saw a saucer, looked like it had a hole in the center, like in the Maury Island.
Right, the donut. The
donut, yeah. Son of the governor of New Hampshire saw something while flying, and said him and his friend were flabbergasted by what they were seeing. He says it wasn't a conventional airplane. Plane. Where's the farmer? I lost the farmer. Anyway, I thought I marked it. This is it. Portman feeding pigeons. I was able to talk to the guy. This is in Portland, Oregon, on July 4th. This was a bunch of coppers saw flying objects and stuff. The farmer was one of the cases that had material. It's either material or it was animals reacting, and he also saw materials come down from the craft. He was a farmer, July 4th and 5th, Fayetteville, Arkansas. 2 consecutive nights just before dark, his livestock bolted when unidentified flying objects swooped overhead. He's rounding up cattle and horses, 3 yellow discs about the size of pancakes, and whirling at the same time. They weren't actually the size of pancakes. As you know from the form that I sent you.
I have it right in front of me.
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh?
Very nice. And you adapted it to the show.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what I'll be using. That's what I'll be using when I have my interview next week with
it's the
yeah.
it's the U.S.
Yep.
Air Force technical information sheet.
But it's not technically the U.S. Air Force. I mean, it's the alien probe.
Oh, technical information sheet.
Alien probe. I'm sure it wasn't taken directly from that. But he's gonna. I'll touch on that for a minute.
Yeah.
Since it's a kind of a real sighting, it's the gentleman will. We're going to talk next week, and I'm going to actually use that form as a guide.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. I did ask him to get in touch with MUFON. I think that's a great organization. We'll be doing this, and he's really interested in what's going on with this phenomena. I mean, he's stoked. He wants to know what we know. And we don't know anything.
What do we know? No.
We know all we know is what we're. We don't know anything.
We don't know anything. We're learning.
We're learning, but I mean, as we march through these things, this is what our goal is, to come through and try to tie everything together, hopefully in a tidy little. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But if we move through this, the past will help us understand the present,
yes,
and hopefully the future.
Yes. And it's I mean, the amount of information is just huge. It's like I said, I got 100 and something books that I've put together. I gotta look at my list.
I mean, like I said, if you talk to pretty much anybody, it's like, well, the most common thing that people will tell me is that, even though they don't believe, they say there has to be some, with the expanse of space. There has to be.
Yeah, and there's something going on, unless everybody is well. Like, we'll see. I'm gonna work through the debunking stuff and then jump back into the sighting books. So anyway, this farmer saw stuff. When he said pancake, size of a pancake doesn't mean that the saucer was pancake sized. It's like, if you're looking at it, it looks like a pancake, the size of a pancake. And it's in that form. They say, what's it look like if you held, a dime up, or what if you held up a, silver dollar or something like that. Sure. I left the older stuff in there for fun. I added email on that thing too for information.
Good.
What did he say? Did he say he said it landed? This guy, the farmer, said it rose vertically 3 or 4. It says it scared his cows. They bolted. Other side of the pasture. Took him 10 minutes to round them up, and driving them up to the barn for evening milking. I hope it didn't ruin his milk. Moved across the pasture and came down in front of him on the south side of the barn. Touched down momentarily, perhaps a few seconds, at a distance of 200 yards from him. Then rose vertically, took off, estimated speed of 50 miles an hour. Left a shower of yellow sparks as it took off. Did not damage the oats, although the sparks were seen falling to the ground. Light was not blinding. This is Dr. McDonald's interview with the guy like 20 years later.
Yeah.
Said the man who came out to cut his oats. I should add, my grandfather was the wheat king one year when he was a farmer, which meant his farm yielded more bushels per acre than any other farm in the county. So he was wheat king. I got a picture of him with him holding a wheat scepter. It's a great picture.
I guess that's not Tommy.
No, it's my dad's grandfather.
Oh, your great grandfather?
Yeah.
Great grandfather?
No, he's awesome. My grandfather.
Your dad's father. Okay.
Dad's father, yeah. Reports the same day. He said the guy that came out to harvest his field had seen something, but he's dead, and the farmer refused to give his name. And then there's cases where they're seeing fragments of ashes, traces of metal that were analyzed. This is all in 1947. Metallic fragments. Air Force files explain this as a possible hoax. Although the analysis was unusual, it had iron, aluminum, titanium, which is an unusual hoax, and then electromagnetic effects, which power outages, and there was power outages. Is this telescope closer look? Needle on his compass, not a power outage. Compass, and that happened with Betty and Barney Hill. They had these marks on their car, and when you brought a compass near these marks, the compass would spin.
Yeah.
Loud roar. Power line. Campo, California, north of Lodi. Loud roar, strange glow. Entire town had a power outage. Said the noise was like a 4-motored bomber with its props feathered for a takeoff. Looking towards the sky, she saw a red glow just as all the power in the community failed. Neighbors reported having seen the same glow and hearing the same sound. PG&E said that a low-flying crop duster had probably struck a power line and burned out a transformer. But there were no reports of any damaged power lines as far as anyone knew. There had been no crop dusting going on before dawn on that Sunday morning. All right, so that's it for the report of UFO wave of 1947. And did you know there was a big UFO wave in 65 or 67? I'm reading in this book that I'm reading now.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. Well, there's always some year or some time where something's reported.
Yeah. Well, that apparently was a big wave for some reason.
Oh, in 66?
66, 67, I think, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, okay, enough with that. This is the one that you want to go into depth in at some point and document the sightings and the trajectories.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll recruit Debbie to help me.
Get to work.
Could she get to work?
Yeah. Aren't you done yet?
said I would come on the show every once in a while. I'm not going to be your secretary.
Get to work. And
it'll be something for me to do if I ever retire.
Yeah,
it may never happen. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But you ready to wrap it up, sir?
Yep. We're over an hour. We're ready.
Over an hour. Awesome.
Hour and 7 minutes right now.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook at alienprobe.net, Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod, YouTube, Alien Probe Podcast. Thanks to our producer, senior producer, I might add, Robert Anthony. And Dr. Bill, thanks again for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.